Let's check if we're live. It appears so. Yes. I'll open this here to keep an eye on the comments. We're coming here live from another studio. But you know the drill if you have been following the last couple of live streams. I always do a buyer's review at the first of the week, and then somewhere in the middle of the week we do like a search investigation on what kind of cars in that series, and this month going to be about the 7 Series, what's for sale here in the Netherlands. And we always specify a certain brand, a certain type, and a certain budget. So without any further ado, let's jump into BMW, the 7 Series. I hear myself in the background. Let me see if I can mute myself. Yes, perfect. Price 25k. Great. So 7 Series, 25k. It's a little bit of a high budget, but maybe we will able to find some more recent cars generations for sale with lots of kilometers, and you can buy a little bit of a more modern 7 Series. Myself, I'm a great fan of the E38, the 7 Series that basically defined the from the 90s. And also I like the one that previous before that, like from the 80s and early 90s. So without further ado, let's just see. We only find about 200 of those 7 Series here, and let's see what we can find. Maybe we can even find a car that is from the 80s that's they've been renovating it, upgrading it, renovating it, so to speak. Okay, so 2013, 162,000 kilometers. The 730D. This is a 6 inline, 3 liters, 1 or 2 turbos. Great travel companion. 160,000 kilometers is not that much. And this generation is good. For all you guys out there that are new, let's just go to my channel. It's okay to promote yourself a little bit. It's my channel, so I can do whatever I want. So you see we're live here now, and this is the 7 Series, the F1 series. So basically the one I just reviewed 10 days ago. So you can buy one already for, yeah, it's not cheap, 22k, but it's 2013, so it's not even 10 years old. 160,000 kilometers driven for diesel, 6 inline, 3 liters. It's not a lot. But these kind of cars, they depreciate so fast. So let's see if I can show you some pictures. How does this website work? Okay. The iDrive system, electronic parking brake, iDrive, so the whole infotainment system here. No, I'm not purchasing anything. I see some comments coming in. I like that. Some engagement with the people watching it. I'm not buying anything. I'm also not trying to sell you anything. I just try to show you what's available here in the Netherlands and how much we pay for a car. And also here, I don't know where you're from, but here in Holland, we pay twice the road tax for diesel. I don't know why. Maybe because our government is greedy, but we pay twice the road tax for diesel. So that means that you really need to drive lots of kilometers to be better off than a petrol equivalent car, a 7 Series. So we have to keep that in mind. Other countries like Belgium, which is to the south of us, they don't have that problem. So you see, like, well, at least 85% of the cars are diesels there. But we're moving on. Let's see. Anything else? So this is already I think this is digital. But they have some, this looks like it has an electric engine on top of it, well, to assist it, and this is diesel. So, but we will go into the specifications later. Yeah, it's great to follow some comments on the back. I like it. It's I'm getting a little bit better at these live streams, but that's coming from myself, so it's not very objective. Rear wheel camera. Um, yeah, the usual stuff what you can expect in the 7 Series. I mean, this is the flagship car of BMW, basically. 10 years ago, this was the best of the best that you could buy. The 730D has been around for many years, so it's quite reliable actually. The 745 and the 750. 745 doesn't really have a good reputation, but the V8s are pretty bulletproof. But the diesels, if I had to pick one engine, it would be either the 730D or the 740D. But let's just keep it like a 6 inline is good enough for me. So 3 liter 6 inline with 1 or 2 turbos, it has plenty of go. Let's see, look at the headlights. It all for 160,000 kilometers. This looks a little bit not super clear. You need to see the car in real life, but 160,000 kilometers doesn't do that to a headlight. So I don't know what happened there. Overall, looked like a pretty nice car. I see a 1 here in the license plate. That means that the documentation, basically, you're an owner of this license. The license is on a name. Yeah, it's you are the owner of the license, and there's a whole documentation of this. And when it switches owners, you need to hand over that documentation to the new owner, basically. And when you have a 1 here, that means that they lost the documentation, which is sometimes an indication, I should say, of a car that has maybe a shady past. So, I don't know. This was the first one that we saw, and let's go over some of the specifications. I'm not blown away. So, sorry guys. Cheers to all of you. That's where the burping comes from. Anyway, 2013, almost 260 horsepower, 250 kilometers an hour, electronically limited. These are all the accessories here. It's a whole long list. It's a high executive individual M Sport, so basically this is what you want. It's individual, it's the highest spec level, and M Sport, so it looks a little bit nicer. Let's look at the car one more time. Okay, I don't like these pictures, I don't like the car. I just move on, you know. But 260 horsepower from a 3 liter 6 inline diesel, which is supposed to be a frugal car. Speak of the devil, here we have the 740D. Are you guys purchasing something? Do you have any questions? What kind of Beamer that you want to buy? Can you see the difference between the prices here in the Netherlands or wherever you're from? Just leave it down in the comments. Maybe I can answer it. Why that is? Well, why is that? We pay a lot for cars. We just do. It has to do with our tax system here in the Netherlands. It's not really a car friendly country like Germany is, for instance, but our country is small. Like from north to south, it's like 400 kilometers. So what do you expect? We have lots of Igos driving around here, very small Volkswagens, like the what's it called again? Not the Me, but the equivalent version of that. I don't care, like small cars, right? 2 little seats and a 3-cylinder engine, maybe not even 1 liter, everything just to save petrol, but in the end you got a great garage bill because the engine is not reliable, that kind of stuff, you know. How to say, penny wise, pound foolish, that kind of stuff. Just get yourself a big engine. Okay, in these times the fuel, even for diesel, the prices, they go through the roof. But still, if you only drive 5 to 8k in kilometers a year, get yourself a big reliable engine, an engine that doesn't need to work that hard, so it will last many years. repairs on the engine are always more expensive than the gas you put into the engine. That's just rule of thumb. Keep that in mind. All right, now we have this 740D. So this is also the F1 generation, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. Maybe even the facelift. Looking okay. For 7 Series, it's not that big in the back. Or are these seats reclined to the utmost position? I don't know what that is. But yeah, it's still a beauty, you know. I'm more of a Mercedes guy, sorry guys, but this looks good. This is proper. This pretty statements like, I would say, and I'm sure the car drives and handles nice, full of technology. Yeah, this is nice. This is a nice place to be at. Let's face it. Nice leather, probably a pretty smooth engine. I didn't really do my homework, so I don't know what a 740D has under the hood. I don't think it's a V8 diesel, but we have to see. If it does, it would be great, but let's just see. So it's also a 6-cylinder, all right, also a 3 inline, of a 6 inline, sorry, 3 liters displacement, and this one then has more than 300 horsepower. So the 730D has 260 horsepower and this one has 306 horsepower. So I think it's in the basis it's the same engine, but they probably used different kind of software because the displacement is also 3 liters. So not sure what happened there, but this is of course the faster one. It has more power, probably also more torquey. So you pay a premium for that. 2012, so it's 10 years old. Done a little bit more than 200,000 kilometers. It's a diesel, automatic, 8-speed, 20k. 20k. Yeah, guys, I mean, if you drive lots of miles and you have a great job, not even a great job, maybe a well-paying job, then this is a bargain. It is. I can Google the license plate or get it through a database just to determine how expensive this car was back in 2012. But I reckon this car costed back then 150,000 euros, and now 10 years later can be picked up for 20,000 euros. As I always mention, it's very important to check the history of a car like this, service history, and just do your research. Watch my videos, see what the weak points are, if certain parts have been replaced, if the latest software is loaded onto the ECU and other parts of the car, and look at the service history, look at what kind of brand of tires are fitted. Is it some cheap knockoff stuff or is it some good rubber? I remember my Polo also being like this. They put grease or some oil on the rims to make it look brand new, but don't get fooled. That's like the oldest trick in the book of a car salesman. So just, you know, Michelin or anything like an A brand, that's good. I'm sure those tires are not cheap. And when you have 300 horsepower on your right foot, I mean, it's not a whole lot, but it's enough. You want some good rubber, especially when the weather gets cold. You need some good rubber under your car. Any more questions? No. Let me take a sip, guys. It's almost weekend, right? Next month I'm gonna do a live stream on the Jaguar because one of my subscribers that always keep mentioning it. Why don't you do a live stream on Jaguar and stuff? I keep forgetting his name, Mr. something, but you know who you are. I saw your comments and I will be doing a live stream on Jaguar. I will show you some of the types from sports car to also like the XJ, I believe, or I think the XJ, which is a rival to the 7 Series. We'll just go over them. Myself, I'm more into German cars, Italian cars. British cars are not really on my radar, but doesn't mean that we should skip them. And then probably April will be the last live stream for a while. Then I will take a summer break and we continue maybe in August. but maybe I can't get enough and we resume in May. Who knows? Moving on. So we just had the 740D. Here we have the 740i, which is the petrol equivalent. Should be a 6-cylinder as well. So this one has 150,000 kilometers driven, 2009, so a little bit older. Close to 17K, so well under budget. Nothing out of the ordinary. Black leather. Yeah, back then this was it still works probably, but the thing is with stock navigation, you need to update them. You need to go to your BMW dealer to get the latest cards, or you can download them from the internet and just do some voodoo magic to it. But the thing is, this car is from 2009. Most people will use a 300 euro costing smartphone that will bring them everything, everywhere. So anyway, looking nice. Looks like nobody sat in here often, so you can tell by the leather. This looks nice. 17K, guys, for a petrol car. 2009, 7 Series, which looks on the eye, it looks great. Okay, so some specs. All right, 150,000 kilometers, give or take. For a 6-cylinder indeed, also 3 liters. But in the petrol version, it produces 327 horsepower, which is very nice. 0 to 100 or 0 to 60 is done in 6 seconds. And the top speed is limited at 250. So, yeah, can't go wrong there. Euro 5. Average fuel consumption 1 liter on 10 kilometers, which is reasonable, I would say. And on the highway, you can stretch it up to 1 on 13, which is that's just great. I mean, this is a 6-cylinder heavy car. My Volvo does about the same with a 5-cylinder. But people who buy these kind of cars, they should not really look at 1 or 2 euros. But it looks good. It looks like it had all its service histories and oil replacements and maybe some other things. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe brake, or this is maybe related to not the ECU. Not really sure. Maybe the brakes, but this is oil for sure. Wow, this one they had like a full service. Full service. This is the 2018. So the 3rd of January at the 103,000 kilometer mark, it had like a full service. And after that, they did oil and a few other things. Oil every time. And here they put it on the bridge 40,000 kilometers later. And what is this? 15. Okay. This looks like this is a year, 2018, but I don't know what this is. Anyway, can't stress it enough, service history. Let's see if we can find something else. 410 horsepower, a 750 Li. Full option, 20K, 2010, looking good. Let me check that one. Then after that we move on to another... Is this the same? No, right? Can't be. No, this is... No. So, more than 400 horsepower. The full option, that's what it said. Like, all the options you could get for this car is probably available in this car. So you also have the entertainment system on the back. You know, if you don't like your kids, just... you just show them a movie and they shut up or they fall asleep, so you can stretch your legs and enjoy those 400 horses. I'm gonna see, this has to be a V8. Probably also 8-speed. We have the iDrive, we have everything. They say full option, so for 20K, guys. You know, it's not like everyone has this in its pocket, but if you still want to enjoy cars before everything turns boring and electric, then this is your chance. And I don't own it. I don't know the guy who sells it, but I'm just saying, right? Head-up display, 2010. Okay, let's just go over some of the specs. We already saw 408 horsepower. What else? This has to be... What can I see more? I want to know more about the engine. Otherwise, I'm just gonna... Is there a license plate available? Otherwise, I'm just gonna find it. I have to know. I have to know. Different website for this car. Let me just check. All right. Specifications. So this is the 4.3. It has to be a V8. 8 speed. 8 cylinder. So the 750 and the 760, and I think the 760, correct me if I'm wrong, is only long wheelbase. But I think the 760 is still a V12. They also rock the V12 for this generation, and the 750 is a V8, and everything below that is then a 6-cylinder. All right, just keep that in mind. So if you want to drive a V8, which is also has a long track record with BMW 750 Li. And L is standing for long, so it's more room for the passengers. Moving on. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is old, right? This is, what, 25 years old? But this is the 7 Series that, I don't know, I just like it. Also in the United States, when you look at certain cars, and this is one of the car, you have many types, right? The 730D, 740D. For some reason, the 740i keeps driving around. It's also partly based on this engine, which is quite bulletproof. Look at it. I think it's a beauty. Yes, it has aged. As you can see, this is the facelift. I can tell by the head and the rear taillights. It's going, yeah, guys. It's 25 years old, right? So 25 summers, 25 winters. That will do something to the leather. But you can make sure that it stays in optimal working condition, and 7,000 euros, it's yours, right? I'm not saying that you're there. Maybe you need to add another 7 on top, but then for less than 15,000 euros, you have yourself a car that brand new costed a whole lot. These are the old-fashioned 90s power plants. Not a whole lot of electronical stuff. Of course, they had an ECU and they had all kind of sensors. Don't get me wrong. Electronics play a part, but not a major part like it is nowadays. Emissions was not really a thing back then. Of course, they had to go to certain rules and regulations, yes, but it is not up to the way that it is now. And back then, that also didn't create limitations for the engineers. So the engineers just wanted to build a very reliable car with a good Laufkultur. In German, it means like, how you translate that, like the way the car behaves and the way it makes you feel. So if it has lots of torque down the rev range, or that it peaks at a certain rev, for instance, like over 4,000 RPM, it really picks up. But these cars, they have a certain characteristics about them. It's not a 3 Series M3, it's not an M5, it's a 7 Series. So this is for cruising down the highway at speeds between 160 and 200 kilometers an hour and feeling good, Not a lot of wind noise, great seats, great feedback in the steering wheel. Just a European cruiser. Okay, I can have a slideshow, I guess. Yes. So I can take a sip. I see some people spamming the live stream, but it's all right. Online strips without clothing? Nah, I'm good. Cheers. Mm, I like my new setup here. It's my new studio, guys. I like it. You know, I can talk freely, I can curse, I can do whatever I want, but I won't do it. All right. Moving on. 740. Anything else? 750, 2008, a little bit older. Oh, this is the most hated 7 series ever from the Chris Bangle era, 2001, guys. Still 8K, and this is a 745i, which you should avoid. These cars are not reliable at all. And it's not like they make up for great looks either. That being said, I think they aged quite well, but they still look kind of like a history teacher, right? With the big glasses on, looking at you in a strange way. I don't know. It did grew on me, but they never really become pretty cars. This I can still appreciate somehow, but yeah, pretty no. I think the interior though, that is nice. The interior is okay. But this was like the new decade for BMW. You know, the 90s they had such a successful car with the E38, but this car even became more successful. Probably really based on the reputation that the E38 had. Um, but there were many problems with this car. Many problems. Maybe not even in the beginning that much. There has been some recalls here and there, and there were some electronical gremlins. But this car was so full of technology, and basically this is the first BMW of the 7 series that was full of technology. So you can imagine what a nightmare it is to maintain a car like this and keep it on the road like more than 20 years later. It's a nightmare, guys. And back then in 2001, when you just look at your tachometer and you see here, oh, in 10 meters I need to go to this street, and I don't even need to keep my eyes off the I don't need to read the map or anything like that, because in 2001, let's face it, navigation was still very new. So you needed an external device like a PDA, personal digital assistant or something on your dashboard. Smartphones were not there yet. We had those Nokias, which were great for making phone calls and texting, but that was it. So we already had GPS modules in the car. You could get your current location and you could fill in an address, and it would guide you there over the speakers. And years later, we got these head-up displays that you don't even need to take your eyes off the road no more. So a lot of things have changed, but for 2001, this was revolutionary. Heated seats in so many adjustable ways. Here, storage. One of the first iDrive modules there. This, it's a nightmare. I don't know why they ask 8K for this. I don't particularly like it, but this is the 750, so it's also with a V8. And it didn't drive that much for a car this age with a V8. 6-speed ZF automatic, yes. And it's original Dutch car, right? No. It's imported. So when you buy a car, a new car, they attach a license plate to the car. Great. That date is registered. And in this case, it was 23 October 2001 that this car had its first license plate. And in somehow 22 November 2016, it entered the Dutch marketplace, which is also registered, which, it's a good thing. So you know that 15 years of that car being on the street, being driven, it better be documented. Otherwise, you lose 15 years, which is a long time for a car, especially a 7 Series, of documentation. You have to make sure that what they claim here, 143,000 kilometers, a little bit more, that it can be traced back, that it's logged every year, you know? And then this car, 2001, it's 21 years old. Why would you drive so many kilometers with it? It's not a lot. So questions. For me, 745 was enough. Skip. If you want to drive lots of miles, go for the 730D. And if you have a little bit more money to spend, go for the 740D. And otherwise, if you just want to cruise from time to time and just pull up in style, go for the 750 with the V8. I would not recommend the V12, but you only live once, right? If you want to, I wouldn't, it wouldn't disappoint you. But if anything goes, the car is totaled. Just know that. Just know that. Moving on, guys. Anything special. 95. Also a petrol. 4.5. Let's just check. We still in it? Yes, we're still in it. What kind of guy is sending me all these kind of messages? Oh. Following you guys. Time is it? Still got less than an hour. I just wanted to do this today because I had some time on my hands and I just thought 7 Series time. So 95, this car, this generation was introduced in 94. So this is an early production model. Probably has the glorious 6-in-line 730i. Kind of shady. Just the rims. I think it's BMWs, but I don't see it that often. Wow. What do I see there? Oh, it's also all leather. It's an executive, so it's probably full of options here. Leather looks okay, but what is this? Somebody dropped a cigar there. And they always make pictures when the gas tank is totally empty. I don't know. Maybe it's good when the car is standing still for a whole lot of time, but look at the steering wheel. It's worn down completely. Let's look at the kilometers later. It has a cassette player, which was the shit in 95. But I get, wow, okay, kilometers. Yeah. You know, if you're looking for a project car or anything like this, then, but who's looking for that? Is it worth it? I don't know, man. What can you expect for 4.5K? Not much. So it has the 3 liters, probably a 6-cylinder, a petrol, driven more than 300,000 kilometers, 5-speed. Yeah, we're going back in time. So a ZF 5-speed automatic. But this is an original Dutch car, I see. Yes, that's good. That's good. Euro 1. So maybe some of the German cities you cannot even enter no more, but I don't think it's a Euro 1. Maybe Euro 3 or something, but it's a petrol. It's should be cleaner than a diesel from that era, but 8-cylinder? I don't think so. It's a 730. So this is a 6-cylinder, probably. I think they made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. They did. No, I think it's a 6-cylinder. Back then it was easy to recognize the 730 was a 6-cylinder. I think the 740 was also a 6-cylinder. Maybe back then still a V8. Because back then they still had multiple V8s, and then they went back to the 6-cylinders and they added a couple of turbos on it just to make sure that they had plenty of performance. But back then in the 90s it was just different. I think you started with a 6-cylinder, you had 2 variants of the V8, and then you had in the top spec model you had a V12. Moving on, here we have a 760i 2006, still just below budget. 120,000 kilometers. Yeah, should we believe that? I have no idea. Swiss cars. Is it imported from Switzerland? Maybe it's an ex-government car. Who knows? Okay. Yeah, it does have to be 12. Who buys that in these times? Listen, guys, we pay like what? I think on this date, like what is it? 11 March. We pay like €2.30 ish a liter. E5, which is the Euro, which is premium fuel, not E10 with added stuff on it, but like premium fuel. €2.30, €2.40 a liter. And this car, if you hit the accelerator, I'm sure every liter can be blown away in every 3 to 4 kilometers. Again, you shouldn't when those are your concerns. I'm Dutch, so those are my concerns. But if those are your concerns, you shouldn't go for V12. Rule of thumb. Yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love it how it looks. Hmm. I want to see something else. So also 760, 728, 98. It's well kept, a young timer. Yeah. I like it. You don't need to, but I think this is the most pretty 7 Series. Just as the same era that they had the 5 Series, the E39. Yeah. It's just that era of BMW I like. There's no way around it. I don't need a Chris Bangle car. I don't even need the F1. I just doesn't do it for me, It just but this, yeah. Leather is an issue after so many years, but this is 98, so these cars ran until 2001 out of the top of my head from 94 to 2001. So then this car was already in production for 4 years, right? I mean, it looks great. It looks great. I'm sure it drives great. This is also automatic. I don't think they come with stick. I don't think so. Maybe. This looks like blue leather. Yeah, not really a fan of that, but anyway. This is a manual. This is a manual. Sorry, guys. They did come with stick. Especially for all you American viewers out there. If you want to do something with a stick, buy this one. No. I think the later models, like from 2002 upwards, they didn't sell cars with a manual no more because they didn't think it fits their image somehow. But I think assumption the E38 is probably one of the last cars with a stick to be offered in that segment, the 7 Series. Hey, here we have something special. So, a car from 83, just 2 years before I was born, the 7 Series of the 80s. Okay, don't look at the rims or anything, but this was the car for the 80s, the 728i. Not even sure if this is like an entry level 7 Series or not. I have no idea, guys. No idea. But we will look at some specification later. I'm especially wondering how the interior looks like. Very 80s with the velour. We call it. Yes, early 80s. So basically 70s technology, let's face it. A car takes a couple of years to develop, so. What time we have? All right. This is pretty analog still. Yeah, who would buy this? 11, almost 12K. Well, here also a manual, 5 speed back then. This is was when BMW was still coming up, so to speak. 180,000 kilometers, 5 speed, no automatic, Euro 0. This before they started having these, what's it called in California, the National Health Agency. Nah. Here we have also an institute that do the emissions test, and we have classifications. I think the latest is Euro 6, 7. Euro 0 never existed, but I think they just want to mention that these cars in the early 80s weren't tested yet. But you see, 1500 kilos is about the same as my Volvo. Back then, cars were just lightweight, so with 184 horsepower, the car was still quite peppy, and it did have a six-cylinder. Yes, a 3-liter six-cylinder. Yeah, this comes back in many cars. The six-in-line 3 liters displacement is it has a long track record at the BMW, so that's also the engine I would recommend actually. Jam, I'm being spammed by some guy. Anyway. What else can I show you guys? Anything special? An X drive. So somebody specified 4-wheel drive on a 7 Series. Black on black. Yeah. This looks like a drug dealer car, I'm sorry. M steering wheel. Moving on. Anything special? This is 2004. What is this? A Highline 2001. This one looks nice. This is gonna be the last E38 I'm gonna review. Otherwise, it's just too much preference of yours truly. But moving on. Yeah, it does show its age. It does. It's getting older. Yeah, definitely. But look at the styling. Look at those. I think maybe they're 14 or 15-inch. They just look good. Don't need to be bigger. It's fine. I would happily have this on my driveway. This is probably one of the earliest GPS modules that they had available for a car like this. Anything else? LCI? Don't know what that means. 750i. We go take a little bit faster. Twin turbo 2011 740i, just below budget. Also the F1 generation of the 7 Series. To be honest, guys, it's not a whole lot of money for such a great car that costed at least 150,000 kilometers, 1,000 euros 10 years ago. The depreciation alone it's crazy. It's off the chart. The only question really is like, what kind of car you're buying? Is it maintained well? Is it looked after? What was the previous owner like? Was it like an executive guy or a night pharmacist? You know, some kind of clarification on the previous owner would be nice. And if you don't know that, then service history, service history, service history. But here it looks nice. Look at the leather. It looks fine. Not worn down or anything. 160,000 kilometers. That's all right. It looks good. Get a good impression. Very clear pictures. If they have something to hide, they will hide it on the picture even. But this one is all fine. Vehicle status, the indication that there's a tire that's running out of air, basically. So one of the sensors picked up that a car, a tire maybe is running flat, very slowly though, but that's something that you should do something with. This is the iDrive. Groningen, which is Holland, Brussels, Frankfurt. Look at the state of the wood still. This looks like a decent car. This is actually the best one, that maybe because the pictures are so clear and they cleaned out the car. And maybe that justifies the price. So it's a 8-speed, 6-cylinder, 3 liters in displacement with more than 300 horsepower. And let me check again. What's the 740? Twin turbo executive with M Sport, LED lights, and knob is like a national auto pass for Holland. So that basically means every time you take your car into a service for a tune-up, basically they will write down your license plate and they will see how much kilometers your car has driven. They put it in the computer, which is a national database. So the next time you take your car to another garage, they do the same thing, because those people that maintain the car, they need to do that. They need to put it in this national database. So also many cars are not registered in this database, which is a liability, I would say. Let's see if we can pick up 1 or 2 more cars, because my time is almost up. 730 high executive. Something funny. So here I have a 730D with an M package. Looks kind of aggressive. Still, I like this generation way better than the Bengal years. This F1 generation, I'm sure it drives well. It's also a nice car. Look at it. Even this specification, I mean, it's on the edge, but it's still doable. It's a diesel 730D again. Last time I will mention it, the 6-in-line, 3 liters in displacement, and the diesel. It has a long track record within BMW. So, yeah, you basically can't go wrong. If you need to drive lots of miles for the next couple of years and then you ditch it because it's already depreciated. You barely can depreciate any further. Yeah, maybe when we all drive electric and you start paying 3 or 4 euros for a liter diesel or petrol. Maybe those days will come one day, who knows? But until that time, you do lots of miles and you don't want to charge your car every 300, 400 kilometers, depending on the weather and the temperature and all that stuff. And you just want to blast through Europe. go from appointment to appointment. Yeah, these cars have such a long development trail, starting in the 70s up until now, recently. I mean, the same with the S-Class. These cars are just built for driving fast, covering lots of distances in great comfort. You can't go wrong, you know? But at the same time, what Corona has taught us is we can also work from home. We can also sit behind a computer and talk to somebody in Australia or Germany or whatever, like that. We don't need to go into a business plane and just go from airport to taxi to hotel and everything. For a lot of people, they don't like that, but let's just be honest. That's also a waste of resources. And I'm not a green hippie or anything. Otherwise, I wouldn't run a car channel. But it's useless. There's nothing more pleasant than driving 1,000 kilometers on a day with a good car for a good purpose, like a vacation or something. But all these meaningless business trips, nah, not for me. Let's see if we can find something fine. I'm just have to see petrol, and I want to see the 760 Li, and that's going to be the last car I'm going to review, because this is 760 Li. Hopefully they have one. Please. They have 4. Okay, now 2004. 16, almost 70k. This is don't get no better than this. This is the V12 with the all everything, Do we have more pictures? Yes, we do. Can I click on them? Yes, you may. This is the top, the very top. 6-liter V12 with 2 turbos, I believe. We will look at the power figures later, but this car is maintained well. I can tell. Yeah, who's gonna spend 17k on this? I mean, it's the ultimate middle finger on wheels, isn't it? Yeah, looking good. Leather, wood, everything. But this is 2004, guys. It's technological wise, it's hopefully outdated, but they don't build cars like this no more. They will never do that no more. Never. Those days is over. So you're buying yourself the best of the best what 2004 had to offer. And in my opinion, 2004, 2005 is still the late 90s. 2005 I was 20, so I know what I'm talking about. And I've always been into cars. So this is basically the 90s on steroids as far as I'm concerned. iDrive. Yeah, it looks good. It looks. Oh man, they have wood everywhere. Here, the glorious V12 for BMW. They don't make them like that no more. Even I heard BMW will ditch the V12 after many years. I think the first BMW came in the 80s. I will do the check just because this is the last car we can do this. Just the 7 Series. BMW. I have to spell it out for you. 7 Series. So let's see. Is it this one? Yes, for this generation, the E32. This is the first generation that they introduced the V12, and I think the current generation don't have a V12 no more, but I shouldn't be lying. So this is the Bengal years, this is the F1 I've been referring to, and this is the current generation. And let's go to the current generation then, the G11. Still need to do a buyer's review on that, and it will be coming in the fall. Here, the final V12. This year they announced. See, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. So this generation, the G11 has the M760 Li X drive, and they call it the final V12. it will be the last BMW series produced vehicle that will be fitted with a V12 engine. So they stick to it for many years, but all good things come to an end. And for this generation, this will be the last generation car, 7 Series, to be produced with a V12 engine. But back then, I think, yeah, this was the best of the best. So can't get no more exclusive than this. The E65, E66. It, yeah, you see how many pictures they really believe in it, and it's a good car. And let me look at the price again, 17K. Do I think it's a smart choice? No. Do I think you will enjoy it? Oh hell yeah, you will. You want a 7 Series because you drive lots of miles. Let me check one time. No, not yet. The 730 or the 740D, maybe even a car from 2000 or 2001. I don't read any reports that they're very sensitive to rust or anything, especially when you get them from a climate that's warm. They will maintain very well. They build their quality products. I would skip the Bengal years if you really want a diesel, 730D or 740D even. Go for the F1 generation that we just saw, the F1 generation. So this is the latest, and we go back to this generation that run from 2008 until 2015 with a 730D, right? Then you have a relatively new car with proven technology, and otherwise I would skip this generation. I would. There's too many things here. The first iDrive, that just shows you that it's the first generation iDrive. They introduced electronic systems to it. I didn't know if they were reliable or not. Even BMW didn't know that. And now these cars are 20 years old, full of technology. It's just a horror show. But this is like one of the latest. This is the last analog BMW, so to speak. So not much can go wrong. And if you buy this with a bulletproof engine, it's a win-win. That would be my suggestion. So do with that as you like. For me, this live stream is finished. Again, in fall we will talk more about the current generation, the G11, because that's also just went out of production. There will be a new 7 Series introduced very, very soon. Next month is going to be all about Jaguar, and the rest of the year will be all about BMW. So if you're interested in this, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Just leave your comments in the chat, whatever you want. Not all this nonsense that I received today, but it's all good. I'm in a good mood, so I just want to thank you guys for watching this live stream, and wish you guys a nice weekend, and all the best to you. Thanks for watching.